Tennessee Titans fans, is there going to be a quarterback competition in Tennessee this summer and fall between Cam Ward and Will Levis? Is there going to be a quarterback controversy? The reason I ask is because Mike Borgonzi, the GM of the Tennessee Titans, yesterday in a press conference, along with Chad Brinker, the vice president of player operations or football operations or whatever he is, they said, when asked about whether they tried to trade Will Levis during the draft, they said no. There were no attempts to trade Will Levis. We want competition. We want competition in the quarterback room, and Will brings competition, and so that's what we want. And so then you have Titans fans who are saying, wait a minute. Hold on. You telling me it's up in the air? You telling me it's up in the air who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Titans in week 1? Well, let me just tell you something right now, folks. There is no controversy. There is no competition. If there is a competition, it is to see who the backup quarterback will be. Maybe there could be a competition between Will Levis and Brandon Allen to see who backs up Cam Ward. But there is no competition. There is no controversy when it comes to who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Titans in week 1. And if there were to be a controversy, if there were to be a competition, let me just go ahead and tell you right now, someone should be fired. Because you do not draft a quarterback first overall to bring them in and have them sit behind Will Levis. You do not bring in Warren Moon, the legendary great Warren Moon. You do not bring him in and have him ceremoniously unretire his own number so that the guy you drafted first overall can wear that number in a Tennessee Titans uniform. You don't do all of that to come in and say, well, we're going to go with Will Levis to give Cam time to grow. That would be a disaster. That would be a terrible look for the Tennessee Titans, and that would be a fireable offense for somebody. Somebody is bad at their job if that scenario happened. It's not going to happen because it would be utter stupidity. Nothing against Will Levis. What I think's going to happen with Will is that he is going to get the Malik Willis treatment from last year. I think Will Levis will get reps in training camp. I think, oh Lord, I think Will Levis will get reps in the preseason. I think he will get plenty of opportunity to put some good reps on tape during the preseason, much like Malik Willis did with the Titans last preseason. And then he will get traded somewhere for a later round draft pick, just like Malik Willis did last year. That's what I think is going to happen with Will Levis. I think what you have heard from Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker is just something you have to say. Like, they're not going to sit there and say, yeah, we're ultimately going to try to trade Will Levis. You can't say that. Because what if there is no trade? What if there's no trade available and he somehow ends up back on the roster as a backup quarterback? You can't publicly say in April that we're trying to trade Will Levis. But I'm just telling you right now, you have never seen a disaster like what would happen. Because, do you understand? These guys want to win. Mike Borgonzi's a first-time GM. Brian Callahan is going to go into the season at least on the warm seat. These guys want to win. And they want to win because of the guys that they just drafted a few days ago. Not the least of which is Cam Ward. So for Will Levis to come in and win the starting job above Cam Ward, that would mean that Will Levis had to outperform Cam Ward in training camp and in the preseason. And if Will Levis is outperforming and outshining the guy that we just drafted first overall and brought Warren Moon out to unretire his number for, you don't even know the depths to which we have sunk. If Cam Ward can't even beat out Will Levis in training camp and in the preseason, then this season and this organization is already done. So I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen. Will Levis is going to be around. When training camp starts, Will Levis is going to be around. He's going to be there with his beautiful flowing hair. I like Will. I don't have anything against Will. Will's going to be around. And you're going to see clips whenever training camp rolls around of Will Levis getting reps. And Titans fans on X and on other social media platforms are going to panic because they're going to say, oh my gosh, why is Will Levis getting so many reps at training camp? And then there's going to be some section of fans who never wanted Cam Ward to start with, and they're going to say, oh, looks like Will Levis is outperforming Cam Ward. Those people are going to be there. So you just get ready because they just want to see the world burn. And then the preseason's going to start. And Will Levis is probably going to play for the entire second half of preseason games. And he might even do okay. And those same people are going to get on X. They're going to say, oh, I think the Titans should consider starting Will Levis. Look how good he looks against the fourth stringers for the Vikings or whoever they're playing. Like, those people are going to exist. Those people are going to be there, just like they were there with Malik Willis last year. And granted, Malik Willis did a good job in preseason last year. That's why the Titans were able to get any sort of draft capital at all in return for a trade for him. And what's going to happen, in my opinion, is you're going to get to the end of the preseason and you're going to get that notification on your phone that the Tennessee Titans have traded Will Levis to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've traded Will Levis to the Los Angeles Rams. They've traded Will Levis probably to the Cleveland Browns because they're just bringing in everybody. They're bringing in everybody they can. And the Browns should bring in Will Levis just to complete the narrative that they have the most hilarious quarterback room in the NFL. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Will Levis. Can you imagine? I mean, can you and Deshaun Watson? Can you imagine? But somebody's going to trade for him, and he's going to go somewhere to be a backup quarterback, and that's what's best for him because hopefully he goes somewhere like Malik Willis went to Green Bay. You get to chill. You get to be a part of a great organization. You get to learn. You get to grow. And then maybe, who knows, in a year or two, if somebody gets hurt or if you keep doing well in camp and the guy in front of you retires or goes somewhere else, maybe you get your opportunity. That's what's going to happen here. There is no quarterback competition. There is no quarterback controversy. Cam Ward, unless he gets hurt, and God, please no, he is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans in week 1. You do not draft a quarterback first overall to bring them in to sit behind Will Levis or Brandon Allen or Tim Boyle. You don't do that. You don't do that. Warren Moon, the number stuff, you just, that's not, and my computer agrees, as you can hear, that's not something you do. Cam Ward's starting quarterback for this team. Cam Ward's the future of this team because he has to be. You took him first overall. You took him first overall. You know, if you had Joe Flacco on the team, if you had Joe Flacco on the roster, then maybe somebody could make a case. Hey, maybe they'll go with Flacco. If you had like Jacoby Brissett with the Patriots last year, they wanted to give Drake May time, so they let Brissett start the year. Okay, maybe. But you don't sit a guy behind Will Levis or Brandon Allen. You just don't do that. You don't do that. And if he can't outperform, if he can't beat those guys out in training camp, we got a bigger problem than we could have ever imagined. Cam Ward, starting quarterback week 1. There's no need to continue to discuss this. Tighten up, everybody.